Alright, cool. I'm live. Good morning, fellow creators. Ben here from Cinder Studios, and I am working on a giant space painting today. So, give me a few minutes here. I'm trying to clear my sinuses a bit and making sure everything looks okay and feels okay. Getting my music playlists and stuff going on. I'm just jumping between tracks right now. But yeah. Made sure to grab my water ahead of time. So, something to note before we get started today, and I'm sure I'll bring it up throughout the day as different chatters come through. But unlike a lot of my normal streams, which I put to lower latency, because this is somewhat like a live tutorial, I had to put it on a regular latency, so there is a 20 to 30 second delay with questions and anything that comes through. That said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I've already laid out, this is a black gessoed canvas that's, I think, roughly 30 by 40 inches. I originally had an oil piece planned for this and started, but honestly, I just couldn't find any interest in it beyond the sky that I put in. So, 3-4 layers of gesso later, and a good bit of sanding, I got this. And then I was like, well, I wasn't going to do the giant space painting on this, but I have an upcoming show that I wanted to do this for, or at least a version of this piece for, that I was like, this would be good. I'd make a nice big centerpiece piece, but then they wanted smaller stuff, so I figured, all right, screw it. I'll just do a big one and drop it at Redfish Bowl later. So, big piece. I've never done a space painting on this scale before, at least in terms of physical scale. Space paintings in general are definitely way more of a visual scale anyway. But yeah, so I have my guess it's off camera mostly, but there is a sketch I did earlier of a rough idea. I was hoping to I was really hoping to not not completely lost my train of thought now. Oh, to do a Photoshop concept first, because I don't have the clearest idea right now. Specifically, so what I'm basically going to be doing is an arced planet surface, but another planet up on the side here that's broken, has a piece taken out of it, and it's floating up next to it. I want to kind of hammer that out in Photoshop before I got started on this, but honestly, I'm just excited to get started. So, starting things out, again, so I just sewed it black, then I came in last night with a mixture of black, wait, no, did I use black? I must have used a little bit of black. Black, a blue, and a mixed purple and green to get the more complex night sky. And then this morning, about half hour ago, I dropped in the stars. So I took care of that ahead of time so I can get right into sketching. So I've got a gray Liquitex acrylic paint marker, and I want to go ahead and just start getting into this. So, let's see. Start out roughly here for my horizon. Things can be adjusted a little as I go, of course. Come on, damn it. I was hoping to have my desktop audio set up down here this morning, so I don't have to worry about the headset, but it was becoming a bigger problem than I was trying to solve, so I'm like, I'll just get the extender. I'll put my headset in fine. Not much I can do about it now, but just gotta monitor where the hell the cord's at. Make sure I don't twist it around something, because I would certainly have a bad habit of doing that. Alright, that'll work for now, for that. So the planet, originally I wanted to do like a half arc, but as soon as I started planning this for the bigger piece, I thought, you know what, I need something bigger, and I will have to pull it up a little bit. So I figured a bucket would work well for this. Actually, it might not even be that might not be big enough. Well, if I take it all the way up, I still don't think it's big enough. Crap! I gotta get a bigger bucket. Hang on. Hold on a minute. Okay, I have upgraded to the garage bucket. Garage trash can, which thankfully is empty. Oh yeah, that's much closer to what I was thinking. Just gotta get my paint marker now. So yeah, like half slightly dipped below the horizon there. And then, oh yeah, perfect. Perfect. Come on, just stay put. Okay, that's good. Maybe. Have a little bit of a hiccup on this side here. Yay! Big circle. I'll have to fix that later. That'll work. Okay, let me put the buckets back. I think I may even toss another moon or something up in here. Not sure yet. Alright, so for the planet side of this, I'm looking at a chunk. So it's somewhat reminiscent of a collaborative piece I did about 2 or 3 years ago. That was a similarly space planet with a chunk taken out of it. But this chunk is, rather than just being missing, I want it to kind of be floating off. So, come up. Like that. And then that piece, let's see, it'll have to be, get towards the center as my vanishing point, because that only makes sense logically. Something like that. And then get that defined on that edge a little bit more so it shows up. Uh-huh. I will have to, at least, I do my best not to block what I'm working on when I set the camera up, but honestly, I do have to do it to some degree a little bit. Um, okay. And this plan is probably going to be more Earth-like, but I will have to really play into um, that missing piece and how much I'm pushing it one way or the other. So, but this is why I really needed to do this ahead of time with another sketch. Let me get out a sheet of acetate here or something. Um, because I knew I was going to reach this point where I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do something to screw this up. So I got to do a little bit of overlay practice first. We'll do that right here with this. So it would be, need to essentially match that thing, but in the other direction. So it's like, that, back, and up. Out. Like that. And kind of like drag it into the thing. Like that. That kind of looks right. That would kind of fit in there roughly. Uh-huh. As long as it's kind of close, I can, and likely will end up, yeah, that's really pretty close in terms of everything. I should have just traced that on this and then brought it up, and that way I'd be able to copy it easier, in which case I could probably do a little bit more overlay here, but this, I think that'll actually work well. So let me clean this off, because that's gonna give me exactly what I'm looking for. That way I can pull the chunk off and then have like some extra little pieces missing. Maybe even offset a little bit, like it drifted. Okay. So this I will need to clean off and redo. But luckily, that's a nice easy fix. Couple drops of rubbing alcohol and everything like that. Okay, let me try this again here before we actually go into it. Maybe even a bigger chunk out of it. No, I like that it's smaller. I really do. All right, so we're essentially just gonna, yeah, so we're just gonna trace over this since we can. That's roughly what we got. Bring that up and create the inner crust piece. Okay. Like that. Missing chunk. Let me just replicate that up on the canvas, and that should be fine. See the joys of clear plastic film? Okay, so have chunk. That's like that. That's like that. Okay, nice. More craggly bottoms to that. In like so. And we got a missing planet chunk. So I want to come a little further over with that. Give that another little bit. But other than that, that's pretty solid. And so it would then likely also have other little floaty rocks around it from where things got flung. Little chunks and pieces. Get another one almost overlapping or something like in here. A little more depth is always good. Way out here. All right. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Okay. Start working on. Actually, I do want to do a little bit of sketch work with the actual surface of the planet itself. So this is up near one of the poles, obviously. So it will be would be frosty, maybe a little bit, but probably not a ton. Um, so we're going, yeah, we're going Earth-like, but not necessarily. Actually, I was gonna make this a landmass, but how about just like an additional hole with another piece up in here? Well, I'm not sure. This is where the Photoshop concept would have been useful. No, I'll let that be the landmass. I don't want to go too crazy here. Air here. And then come up, down. Something like that for our land masses. I'm debating on whether or not I need the other piece of it. I really feel like I do. Because you should still be able to see the other half of the planet, even with the chunk missing. It wouldn't wrap all the way around it. So maybe even just something not as high up, but just the other half of that you now see on that end, you know? And then you'd also like see in it from that side. Oh yeah, that helped. Okay. So I'll work, I'll obviously work like ocean color and this and that, but I am gonna definitely lean towards having that red glow coming up from the depths of that. And I'll have to play a little bit with atmosphere and how I want that to have adjusted. Or maybe there's literally just like a pocket in the atmosphere where there's just nothing. Not really sure. See if I can turn this a little closer for you guys. All right. So, foreground then. A little different. It's a lot of maybes in this piece. Different things to do. The star will stand out more. I'll give it more of a lens flare towards the end. All right. So I'm actually going to pull this down now because I need it for this section. So the name of this piece is going to be Fractured Worlds, and it's going to be referring to both the upper planet as well as the lower one, because I want to do a lot of crack work and tears and valleys and things in here. So getting essentially a bunch of lines in here to help me figure out where that's going to end up. Just some guidelines in here, mostly. And they'll all be little bits here and there. Tears, valleys, little peaks and things. And then I am going to work figures into this, believe it or not. Not necessarily the most realistic, but it's a fantasy space painting, so it's not gonna be. Get my bigger paint marker for this. So definitely have sort of an outcropping here. Like that. I'll have my figure somewhere in here. Looking out over this crazy, crazy world here. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be covering so much of it up later anyway, so it's really just a matter of figuring out where I want a lot of those lines in order to balance the piece out a bit more. My issue right now is there's basically just a giant dead space right here. So I want to try and get something to at least balance it a little bit compositionally, but not offset things too much. I think just some distant mountains or something would probably work. Like throw a little thing in here, like a big rock or something, sticking up. Volcano even. I could do that, and then have it dripping lava or something out of that. That could work. Lava fields. Gotta get a couple craters in here too. That would be useful. So that we'll put a little crater here. I'm trying to think about techniques I used in the space tutorial series, because this is, again, it's a year late, but essentially we're trying to do all or showcase as many of those techniques from that series as I can. There, put one here, real far out. It feels pretty good. I think I can work with that. All right, so let's get some real paint out. Not just the paint markers, but of course the paint markers do certainly help considerably when approaching something like this, to really kind of hammer those details out ahead of time. All right. So I will need a little bit of some base color in for to the planet in here. I'm probably gonna start with a gray or a brown just to kind of block out those shapes, but I do need to well, get started. So I've got my used paint mix for the funny brown. It's kind of a, yeah, it's a brownish color. I got a new knife recently. Slightly wider painting knife than what I've had previously. And start with some used paint. I might even mix some of my gray mix into that as well. I don't want it to be too saturated too quickly. We also are talking about space here. Space. Go to space. Go to space. Go to space. I'm space. All right. Little blob of grayish brown with some blue streaks in there because I some blue in that jar that was loose. And I got out a smaller angle brush, but I don't know if that's the best thing here. Yeah, we'll stick with it for now. My neck's a little stiff. I might have to grab a fistful of pain pills. In fact, I'm gonna go grab a couple because that was something that I wanted to do before the stream started and I forgot. Okay, back into it. Get my stool. Okay. Start dropping in. I'm actually going to start with the vertical sections, at least for the time being. I think having those squared away will be the best way to get. I wish this thing didn't wobble as much as it does. Jeez. Oh, that's right. I had music going at some point today. Well, for me anyway. Not obviously, I can't play music in the background of this because then we've got problems with other things, copyright and such. Yeah, definitely worth it with the angle brush. Good choice, man. Okay. So we'll do that. Yeah, I definitely want more brown. More base brown. Also, I need it to be a different color anyway to offset the everything else. So don't want to confuse my layers. Looks good. Wipe that on my pants, and then wipe my hand on my pants, and now I've got paint all over my hand. Alright. Here with this guy. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I like the idea as well. I was thinking about this even before I got started today. But the idea of having just as much signs of city life and activity and stuff on the upper atmosphere, in which case the atmosphere thing would have to double atmosphere it. But like it's like this would have happened so long ago that an entire sort of other civilization evolved on the upper piece. Yeah, I like that idea. All right. Eh, Get in there. Boop boop. Jiggly and wiggly. Just blocking that in. Yeah, I'm gonna need probably gonna mix sort of a base blue. I mean, obviously the black gesso is gonna be more dominant, so I'll have to do a few layers with that. I'll probably end up mixing some white into that just to get that more of a punch of a color. So I realized this live event was a little last minute. I was planning on just having a regular vlog, but I was like, well, I have editing issues, and with it being Labor Day weekend, I was like, I'm not sure what kind of viewership's going to be like this weekend anyway. People are going to be out. It's going to be absolutely beautiful, if not a little warm this weekend. So just having a little extra less to worry about, at least in terms on the video editing side of things, that today I think was going to be just a better choice for me. And I got to tell you guys, this whole week has been awful. Coworker that had already put in their 2 weeks notice just walked out on Monday. So I've been pulling double duty at work all week. running around like a complete nut. And yesterday, it was like 10:30, 11 a.m. And I'm just like, I am so just mentally drained right now. Like I could barely keep myself working. Um, which really just took its toll. And last night I just sat back, poured myself a drink, played some Zelda, and just let it myself kind of decompress. Really. So having this time now this morning is even better for me to really kind of help clear my head. So Tuesday when I go back to work, it's just really will have a lot clearer of a mindset. All right, I think I want to stick with this brown for now to drop in these land masses, or at least the start of them anyway. Things will change a little bit as I go, of course, but having base coats down for all of these layers are really important. Might be wondering what I'm going to do with all these script lines. Like, well, when we get to the atmosphere bulge, those will all be hidden. Yeah, because the line work in here when I was dropping in that circle with the trash can, um, obviously that's looks like it would be a problem, but we can nothing we can't paint over later. So, yeah, that's the great thing about throwing in an atmosphere on a planet like this is that you really get a good sense of where you can fudge things. um, Jump to my next audio track. Ah. Nothing like some base layers to get ourselves started. I don't know why I got southern there for a minute. Oh, get ourselves started. Painting some big land masses over here. When I was in college, I worked I worked retail, and I had this boss for I don't know 6 8 months named Johnny. And Johnny was a really weird dude, but it was always one of those things where every now and then his accent, we'd hear him say something, we'd be like, "What did you just say?" Like we heard you, but like with the accent, it made regular words seem a little odd. Sometimes it was like, "What? Pronounce your syllables, man." Enunciate. Enunciate. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to mix a lighter blue, or even come in with a white just to start to make the deeper ocean blues really pop out. Not to mention the amount of extra frosting with white for ice and for clouds. I'll be doing later, but all right, I keep forgetting to switch my audio track. Let's see, what do we got? Um, I'll let YouTube Mix throw me something interesting. See how it does. It knows what I listen to all the time, so should help. Connect these two islands with a little edge, and make it one big island. Ooh, epic choiry music in my headphones now. Again, I would play it for you guys, but I'd get copyright flagged left and right and demonetized. I can't be having that. Like I'm still really thinking about what I want to do color-wise for that first blue layer. And what would be the most effective, you know? What's crazy about a piece this big, especially with essentially two major elements, is that this is essentially two paintings. It's this one in its entirety, and then this one in its entirety. But I can't touch anything in the foreground planet until I do everything on the background planet, or at least most things on it. Once I get like about this much lower half done, I can jump around a little bit more. But other than that, it is a bit more like you have to kind of do them in order. I'm thinking because of the tremors and the cracks up in here, I will end up putting some more fissures in there, some finer lines, likely some signs of rivers that splintered closer to the coasts. You know, got to think about the long term effects of what having that quite literal earth shattering piece of a planet taken out would do to the rest of the environment. You know, cresting rivers, earthquakes, like how would the rest of that land be damaged as a result? Always thinking, always thinking. I do have to stand up and apologize because I will be blocking the canvas, but I can't turn it at this point. I just got to get this edge here and steady my hand. So sorry about that in advance. Won't be long, I promise. Yep, that's it. That's all I needed. Can only do so much sitting at the same angle all the time. Okay. So let me figure out what I'm doing for this blue layer. Um. Oh, that's right. I've got that little bit of cerulean left that I've been trying to use up. So I think that would probably be the one of the best things I could put on here, mixed with white. Yep, I'm gonna do that. This angle brush is actually quite useful for all of these shapes. It's certainly why I do and have more recently been using it more and more. Actually, recently. Recently, I actually haven't. I picked it up, picked a couple of them up. I think one maybe two of them. I need to get more. I really like the just that cutoff when I can really get brushstroke wise. All right. So yeah, this is Utrecht's Cerulean Blue Chromium Pure, a color that I've been easing out of my working set for a while. Big blob, and even that's not going to be enough to finish it. Take that. I want to take. Actually, thinking a little bit of transparent red iron oxide in order to tone it down just a hair. And a little bit of white to act as my sort of re-gesso base layer, more or less. Is this Nightwish? Oh, we got... No. Attack on Titan Season 2. Kind of does have that vibe to it. I never saw more than, I think, 2 episodes into that season. Alright. So sort of a light blue. Toned down a little. You can pull some of that gray I had in there before. Because we're gonna probably lean a little, even a little more transparent with that. Especially when I start applying that in with the brush. And it definitely won't be that bright when I'm done, obviously, because that would look ridiculous and kind of weird. Oh yeah, but that definitely gives me enough of a base coat. Yeah, because it's gonna be, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but it'll be streakier. I'm getting messages. Well, they're gonna have to wait. Probably end up switching when I do the upper layer or upper layers, I should say, to get the water actually the right color. I'll probably come in with like a filbert brush and really kind of buff that out a lot more. But just gotta cover the black for the time being. And I'm not even worried about touching uh, or going over the land too far either right now. Cause I'm just base coats, just base coats, just base coats. The blue's not the final color, the brown's not the final color, just base coats, just base coats. And of course, I keep talking about doing like the atmosphere glow. That's like last thing for the planet. There'll be a little bit of a glow here, probably a little bit lighter of a glow down here, because I do want to have that fuzz to make the layers pop out more. What time we got? Hey, it's almost 10. I'm just gonna stream pretty much through the course of my entire morning studio session here. which is going to put things till like 12:30 or 1. So, don't feel obligated to sit here and watch this whole thing, because I know, especially when I get down to the more details, the nitty-gritty of this, where it's not going to show up on camera as well, that's totally fine. Pop in and out, say hi in chat, whatever. But I hope all of you are having a fantastic morning or afternoon or evening or wherever you happen to be living in the world. But at least for this part where I'm blocking in the colors over the black, this should be at least a little bit more interesting, especially when you can start to see things come together from the initial sketch layers. Yeah. So I figured like here we have this nice bay, like maybe there'd be the indication of, well, hello, not that. I'll again be going over it several times, but like a river cutting through, like that. Just enough to allow me to see what's where later when I'm doing those other upper layers. In fact, I may even, considering where, like, the ocean's not going to be right up to the edge of this, even with this hanging out up here. Some of it might be to throw a waterfall or something in that, but I will likely have to come in with that brown or whatever the land color ends up being, and giving that more of a ridge, because that would have, again, broken back. Maybe the water was able to push down through some of that, but chances are it's going to be more of a mountain ridge. Or even if it was lower on that edge, it would have drained out to a certain point. So there'd be like a low point there. All these things to consider. And more. You can't just make a weird sci-fi destroyed planet piece and not think about science and physics. Which is why, interestingly, when I am scrolling through YouTube videos and watching stuff, I'm not usually watching painting videos. I may do sometimes, but I really gravitate towards sciencey videos, because all of that really helps inform the painting process when I'm doing weird environments. And if you're watching documentaries on how water cuts through land and rivers, and I was watching a really interesting one about I think Caitlin Doty from Ask a Mortician had that video about a dam that burst and flooded San Francisco. And not a lot of people remember it, because a lot of the people that died in it were immigrant workers and such. So nobody really cared about a lot of the bodies, which is really sad. But outside of that, it does lend you to, see images of the aftermath from whatever the 20s or 30s. You can see the way the mud caked up on everything, and what got washed away and what gets left behind, and all of that, then to inform inform your mind, then take it to canvas and be like, okay, so that's how that would look. Or things blow up with enough kinetic energy, so it's like, all right, it's not going to be right there next to it perfect every time. Yeah, I'm for sure coming in with Prussian blue and some deeper greens and browns to really tone down the ocean, but gotta cover the black. And then even on top of that, I mean, we're gonna get swirly clouds and atmosphere, and yeah, it's all just base layers. I'll skip this track. Yeah, it's always easier to do an Earth-like world without doing it actually as Earth. Yeah, I'll definitely have to give this a little bit of time to dry for sure. Actually, I just realized I need to put a little bit of extra land or something up here. Still probably going to be icy, but got an arranged version of the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack, and I'm just jamming now. On the upside, if you ever guys ever want to see what I'm working on and listen to my music, I occasionally will do an exclusive live on the Discord server, but I don't really like doing exclusive things to other platforms. But the Discord server's free, and anyone can join, and it is a thing. Actually, I bet the blip from my phone earlier, actually, what is it? See, it's probably going to go again, because it usually resets around 10 on Saturdays. Might have been an Instagram thing. Because I did post a thing saying, "Hey, come watch me live on Instagram." Before I got started, so could have been something there. All right, starting to reach this corner again, where again, much like the landmass, I will have to block the camera for 30 seconds, so I letting you know it's coming up. Bit of a one here that maybe splinters off, make more of a delta up here. Still working some rivers in where I can. All right, blocking the camera for 30 seconds. Bear with me. Okay. All right, just get the top section here and we'll be good. Also, I'm starting to get hungry, but I did plan ahead. I have some creamery classic-y, typical butter biscuits from Italy. I bought these at my city's Mediterranean store a couple months ago. Of course, the first couple cookies are probably getting a little stale. Surprisingly, they're not. They've kept well. Okay. So, now that I put the water up there, I'm definitely thinking about a couple of waterfalls, especially coming off the upper one. Yeah, I started in here, so this is basically already dry. I should be able to start bringing in some of the more complex blues now and working my way back around. Okay. Yeah, that would be good. All right. So, still good? Sorry, just double checking some settings here. Also nice to take a little bit of a break here and there. Stand up for a few minutes. I've been standing up, but you know what I'm saying. Stand up, do some palette management. Pull up that old blue. And a little water here on that. Mm. Hello. Don't need that there. Yeah, so I'm definitely leaning. Let's see where we're sitting here. Let me just grab some color. Blue, deep blue sea, Prussian blue, and the alizarin crimson would probably be perfect for this. So I'll grab some of that. The open alizarin crimson that they don't make anymore. Well, they make it, they just don't make the same version of it. Luckily for me, I bought a big jar last time I was at the store, and I have enough to last me like 3 years now. Hopefully until somebody sources the pigment again. Yeah, so I've actually got more of a purple now. Which for a complex ocean blue is going to be really nice. Yeah, that's quite nice. Yeah, I do want to switch from that angle brush to a filbert, in which case I'm going to have to clean this, so I shall return in 2 minutes. Okay. So, I actually haven't pulled out this brush in a long time. It's my newer, smaller filbert. The Maglin number 10. So this, I am going to have to sit for this. Since we are talking about more precision brushwork. Alright. So, keeping the paint a little thinner. I have that nice red and blue mix here now. So I can start pulling that in. And then we will be getting some of the underlying blue, because this is not quite a glaze, but because it's thinner, it should help things out considerably. Somewhere between dry brushing and glazing. Gonna pull that paint out as much as I can from every little blob. Yeah, that looks good. And anywhere there's bigger, wider patches of oceans that's not near the coast, that's where I'm probably going to blob the color down, because that'll be the deeper water. And then anything up towards the coast, I'll use a little bit less of the deeper blue. See, the brighter blue wasn't just there to be there. But that's also why you need base coats, is to be able to really kind of build that more complex color up. I might even grab a little bit of my is it cobalt turquoise? Yeah, and mix some of that in, but probably after the fact once I get the blue done. Might be wondering why such a small brush. It's like, well, so I have control. Was just wondering what my next track on this playlist was. I got a certain familiar melody. I'm like, oh, that's the last Agni Kai. Can recognize that a mile away. That slow, that's slow melancholy violin and the drum. Just yeah, one of the most beautiful pieces of music ever put on TV. I was specifically going to say animation, but like no, all TV, just all TV, all the time. Yeah, the coasts I'm leaving a little bit. Coasts and rivers I'm leaving more of that lighter blue. I'll probably do more white with it later, but okay. Jumping around a little bit. Okay. have a lot of nice underlying brush texture now too that I'm picking up on. Okay, a little bit more paint here. Yeah, I think I'm definitely thinking a little bit of that turquoise to finish off. But just with this blue alone, I'm really getting a good blend with this. A little more water here. When I say a little more water, I'm talking about brush water, not the water that I'm painting. It's just occurred to me. I'm like, I probably should clarify. I'm gonna have to go back and get the center, the Earth center soon. Definitely before I do the land masses. In the middle of this, and I'm like, I gotta paint that before I get too too carried away. Which is good. It'll give the blue a more substantial time to dry, and then I'll come in with more of the green layers and such with the upper land masses. Also, it's getting a little warmer in here, which means I'm probably have to go upstairs and shut the windows. It's nice and cool overnight, but won't be the rest of the day. So What the hell was I thinking painting all these islands? I gotta go around every single one of them. I probably could just glaze over them, but I do want to keep as much of that coastline bits here and there as I can. Again, things that probably aren't showing up on camera a ton. You might be getting a little bit of it up in here, but nothing crazy, you know. It's about time to swap away from the epic music and into something a little more fun. I'm thinking about cracking open Pandora for the first time in a while. And the rivers, because the rivers are gonna have to stand out more, so they're probably gonna be more white once I get the baseland, well, not the baseland, the continents painted in more so. Yeah, feeling really good with this blue. That's looking pretty good. Almost there. I'm still pulling some of that blue into the river, but definitely not as much as I otherwise would anywhere else here. Also, thinking about future painting sessions this weekend because it is a holiday and I will have some time Monday. I may also stream Monday morning as well, similar to this, for a nice chunk of time in the morning. I know a lot of people will be doing stuff in the afternoon and into the evening, but hey, what do you know? I don't have to block the camera for this angle this time. Uh, but I imagine some people will have the morning at least to relax a bit more. All right, just have the top section now. Plus, staying fresh and being able to again, that's what's always nice about a 3-day weekend is you can paint on the third day. I think I'm due for another butter cookie too, or a piece of cake. I've got one more piece of this cake that I made last weekend. I've been eating it a couple of days this week for breakfast. Oh, that's right. I did want to grab the cobalt turquoise for a little bit of glazing, possibly dry brushing. But let me get this. Let me get the upper chunk here done first. Now finish up the blue, add that little bit of turquoise, and then I will be due for a brush and water cleaning and change. And then I'm going to start working in that first chasm of where the where that chunk off the planet's missing. And then all the rocks and such around it. Which should make the rest of the piece start to pop a little bit more. And work around those work around the edges where the ocean's not going all the way to the edge. Figure out where those literal edges of the world are. Part of me in the back of my head wants to put a little red pole in the middle. Here's the North Pole. But I won't. All right. Oh, right, cobalt turquoise. Just a little bit of green, some green masses, seaweed plumes or something, you know. Tiny little bit of that. Probably won't be enough to do anything in terms of what's showing up on camera, but you never know. Put a little bit out in here. That's a lot brighter than I thought that was going to be. I'll just drop in a couple and then dry brush it out. I'm not sure how much of that would end up showing up anyway. Actually, this is probably going to be a decent color to work in for some of the coastlines as well, so I may even mess with that a bit. Around the coastlines. Yeah, not everywhere, just a couple of little indications of some additional color. Okay, I like that. Alright, brush, rinse, break, and a piece of cake, and I shall return. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the angle brush I was using earlier. And I want to pull in some, one of my only iridescent color. Actually, no, I do have some silver and gold, come to think of it. But the micaceous iron oxide, the mica black as I call it. Yeah, time to switch to Pandora playlist. It's been so long I haven't even signed in. Let's see if I remember my password. Is that it? Hey, that's it. Excellent. All right. So, should be able to mix up with some of the stuff I already have on canvas. Or the palette, rather. That gray that was there. A little bit of that blue. Yep. Okay. Flip back in. Ugh. Okay. You do need to grab a little bit of black, I think. Just a little. I'm actually getting excited about adding the highlights to the rock faces because that's really gonna make everything pop. That deep blue here. So at least get the off shadowed sides of that. Get some shadows on the chunks of rock popping off. See my tutorial on asteroids for a close-up version of what I'm doing here. Asteroids, planetary belts, I think was that one. Okay, looks pretty good. Want a little bit of that red now to kind of pull up from the center. Got a little cad red. Indian yellow, but not mixing those together immediately. Come on, get on the thing. Start with just the red. A little bit on the corner of the brush. Maybe a little bit of blue in there too, just to tone it down a hair. Just really subtle. Just a little bit of that into the yellow. Like it's just like it's barely see it. It's just kind of there a little. Like that's not the light source. I just want to have it there a bit for that warm glow. Can always add a little more later, but I just yeah. All right. So let me see what I want here for. I need a little more of that brown color. Actually, I can probably just use the red that's on the palette and work with that. Red, gray. Let's see what's still available on the palette that I can work with. It's not bad. A little yellow. It's pretty good. Still need to brighten it up though. It's probably where the Titan buff's gonna come in. That's good. A little bit red, but make a good offset for the rest of the color. Start dry brushing some of that in. Get the little upper space chunks first. Oh, no. Get this side first. This is where things start popping out. Yeah. Where am I looking here? Okay. All right. We got a chunk. An outward chunk. Yeah, I definitely want to darken the farthest area out. Black and blue for that. This will make everything pop out more. Yep. Now just a little bit brighter for an upper layer for those highlights. So we got that light coming in on this edge. Won't be everywhere, but it'll be on a lot of them. Not the backside as well. So I got some highlights over here in with where it shadowed back, but most of it'll be there. And also, now that I'm thinking about it, once I'm done with the atmosphere layer, I'm going to have to darken a whole edge to make it nighttime on the one side. Can't believe I almost forgot about that. That's really obvious, but like, yeah, it's only going to be light like here. So we're going to do all this work with clouds and all this stuff and then cover it up mostly with black. This rock that's on top of these, I'm going to give a lot more light to. All right. That is really nice. I'm going to have to get a new palette now, though, because I'm running out of space for a lot of this mess. So I need to make sort of a neutral green here. Let me rinse my brush and start looking at some new color here. Okay. So I'm starting with some chromium oxide green dark. I have a little bit of cad yellow on the palette too, but I shouldn't need a ton of it. Just fairly pure here. Just gonna pull that over the brown. What I do want to grab though is a reference. Specifically, pictures of the Earth from the space station. Because I'm thinking about this, I'm like, well, if I'm going to do this and then paint the dark side of this, I also want to be able to paint the lights on the dark side of it. And all of the little yellow dots for the city lines and everything. But I also kind of want to look how many features really are going to pop out at that distance. And in fact, it probably doesn't need to be this green. In fact, it might need to be browner, but like lighter browner. Well, there's another fun thing scrolling through its reference pictures. The aurora. I might be able to throw some of that in there too, depending. Maybe just on the top or something. Could be fun. All right, so some of this I'll go green. Some of this I'll go for a lighter brown. Try to do a bit of a mix. Definitely think more green, especially. I mean, we're talking center, like so. We're looking like equator, rainforest kind of stuff, which does make a bit more sense. Again, logically, think about it. Yeah. Definitely a bit more brown spaces than green spaces, because the only real green you're seeing at a distance is the big untouched forest areas. So center of continents, I'm thinking mostly. Maybe a little bit towards a couple edges, but not a ton. I'll probably grab a little bit of like white and yellow ochre to kind of, or even something closer to this from that highlight. Yeah, I'm thinking way more. A little bit of green here, but very little. And then that'll work. Okay, so I want. Let's see. Uh, yeah, definitely gotta get something lighter in that. Um, how much of that color is still wet? Enough. Definitely enough. Bring that over. Add a little more yellow to it. And that white. It's not a lot of that color. Just have to supplement with a bit of molding paste. Plus it'll lighten the color enough that it should have a better... yeah, a lot brighter. That's what I'm looking for. Keep it a little wet. I might need a softer brush than this, though. Go ahead and get that filbert back out. Wetter. Actually using the tip of my finger here as well to essentially remove brush strokes. Because I'm coming in over top of this and I'm noticing the streaky lines, and while it is getting the color where it needs to be, I need to essentially remove the brush strokes out of that. That's nice. And this is coming together really nice today. I knew it. This was another one of those things. I just needed this kind of. All right, where are we at? Little spritz on my palette here. First time I've needed the spray bottle this morning. Whew. Just realized I didn't finish this part up here. Yeah, when I get to the top section, I'm gonna add a lot more white because if I want that to be a little frostier. Alrighty. Whew. This really is two different paintings in one. There's so much of this that's just it's gonna be so different than what's down here. I'll probably afford to use a little less paint up here because it's gonna be in shadow anyway. Though I should look if the clouds need to be black on this side, and I think they do. Maybe. Maybe not. Actually, interestingly, the light seemed to show through the clouds, and at least to some degree. Okay, good to know. Okay, one more continent to go. Then I'm going to grab a little bit of the out of the jar brown color since I think I'm out of that. Work on those lines right around the edge. Well, I don't know. I have the up top continent yet, but and then likely get it to what am I saying here? Sorry, I gotta think for a second. Clouds or something like that, I think. Yeah, so one more here. Top one with a little more white. Probably need to do some ice layers as well. But not it shouldn't need a ton. But yeah, getting this edge so it's not just water right up to the edge is probably next out for this. Yeah, ice and clouds and the dark layer. Say ice clouds, dark layer, lights. I mean, should be pretty good. And then final atmosphere, but that's a whole other thing. I'd say probably another, I don't know, hour or so. At least for the planet anyway. Um, Surprised how little I've had to do with the rivers. I thought for sure that was going to be a bigger project. Right. A little bit of white for that top piece. All right. So I will need to sit to get these edges and get a little more of that funny brown. And a nice thin brush. I don't want to say, don't strictly want to go for the liner, but I should have a nice smaller flat right here. All right. Yeah, so we'll do a little edge continents, basically. Not everywhere, but definitely some of the places. I'm working back and forth with that lighter color as well. You know what? I don't like that. I actually do think the blue to the edge works. Maybe just a little less. I don't know. pull some of the brown in and give it the, like, what maybe the indication of more like just rocks than I mean, a lot of it's going to be just in shadow anyway, but at this point, anything that's kind of where that original gray line was is the only thing I'm like that concerned about. Yeah. Okay. I think I can start working in some clouds lightly. We'll need to keep eyeing over my references a bit. Actually trying to think if the atmosphere layer should be above or below the final dark layer. I don't think. I think the atmosphere should radiate a little bit on the dark side. At least from what I'm seeing anyway. Yeah. It'll probably be smaller and lighter, but it is still there, notably. Okay. Good to know. That's why we have reference images. Thank God for Google and NASA. Okay. Um. Yeah, clouds. All right. Let me do. I will have to rinse my water for sure, though. Definitely don't want to taint the whites. So I will be back momentarily. Man, this thing looks so cool at a distance. All right. So I've got a little bit larger of a brush now. This is a nice stiff bristle. Um, Just gonna grab a little bit of zinc white to start because I don't want to overpower anything, and also don't want to rip any underlying paint off at this point because we are probably still a little bit moist underneath. Moist underneath. Okay. And zinc white being more transparent will allow us to move a little slower, building that light up. So I definitely want to do, I'm going to start down here, I think, maybe do something of a, not quite a storm, but just a little front system, so to speak. Like southern hemisphere counterclockwise. That's all right. That's a start. Actually, gonna really just step back here and let me wet the bristles as little as well here. Keep things flowing. Step back, weight handle on the brush, and just kind of play a little. Kinda. Actually, I'm thinking a softer brush might be better off. I'll stick with this for now. Yeah, I need something softer. Ooh. This is, I wouldn't normally go this big, but this might actually be better. Soft and dry, soft and dry. Swirl that. Oh, that's better. And just very lightly start pulling that in, you know? Almost that typhoon kind of deal going on here. more of a front up in here. Coming over the continent. Bit more here. Okay, more sink weight. Yeah, I will need to really wait before I do the black shadow over that, but shouldn't be terrible. Yeah, so we're gonna come over that. And just, those clouds really would just be floating right over top of that like it's nothing. So that's what I'll do. And then the upper re-atmosphered part of that. Extra central storms and stuff. Uh-huh. A little here, a little there. I like it. Okay, darker on some of my other storms in here. I don't know why I always like putting big typhoon storms on my planets. But I do. Typhoons, hurricanes, you know, whatever. Just feels more natural. Try not to be too crazy about it. But I do want to have some frostings. Not everywhere, but most places. Little bits here and there. All right, we got ourselves a planet. Yeah, it won't be today because I have to give it a good at least 8 hours, I'd say, before I start pulling that black layer in. But that black layer as well is gonna be probably a good line about right here. So really, like, I mean, like a 2/3 of this planet is gonna be in shadow. It'll be obviously a little more subtle. It won't be just like line. It'll be slow fade to black, but and then I'll work in the lights on this side to really kind of amp that up. I gotta step back and look at this. Hold on. Yeah, that's awesome. I really like that. I do think I want to start playing. The one thing, other thing I can do with this before I have to start calling it is I was gonna say I could probably do some base layers in here as well, so I might be able to do that before I call it a day or a session rather. But I should be able to get the atmosphere, the first layer for the atmosphere in, and that's mostly gonna be zinc white as well. I'm gonna grab a softer flat brush. Add probably a little bit of yellow to it, but just a hair. And we're gonna need a mop brush to really blend that out. So it's gonna be apply real thin, follow that edge, and just blend that out on that side. Actually, I don't know if I'm gonna go yellow. Maybe I'll go blue with it. Yeah, I'm definitely leaning bluish white. For sure. But yeah, I feel really good about this. I'm really on a roll here. Like I didn't. I gotta be honest. I really didn't expect to plug away and get this far into this piece this morning. But it's turning out great, so I can't really complain. All right, so let me mix up. We're gonna go zinc white. We're gonna go back to that. Actually, I think a mix of the cerulean chromium as well as the cobalt teal might give me a more interesting atmosphere mix. Again, we are mostly white, but hoping I still have some of that wet on the other palette. I don't think I do though. Yeah, no, that's completely dry now. Okay. Where are my brushes? There we go. So short of wetting my bristles on the very minimally damp here, not much water, mostly just paint. And then just follow that edge and blend it. like, oh, might actually have to make that a little wetter. It dried this like the second I put that line in. Like that. Yeah, let it push outside of the planet a little bit more and pull that out. Yeah, then you can go thinner. Yeah, you're not really seeing that blue, but I can always glaze a little over later. Yeah, I still have a little bit of that line showing through. I can probably just have to come over with that black mix later, but that's okay. Such a small and minor thing to do, but really goes a long way in the finished piece. Yeah, I'm not blending it on this side, really. Just letting that exist on that edge. Yeah. And again, that's that edge that'll be mostly dark anyhow. So I'm not worried about it. It is a little bit wobbly, but very little of that, if any, I'm going to still have showing through atmosphere-wise, so. Do need a little more water here. And we'll do the same thing with the upper chunk. Just a little. All right. Get this. I always have to rinse this immediately. Okay. I'm gonna see what kind of probably do for another change of the water again. Um, see what kind of wet paint I have left and mix up a gray and start putting a little bit of a base coat down in here. Again, cannot do my shadows or anything of that sense on this planet for at least an hour or two to be sure that all of those underlying layers are dry. But I will for sure be able to get a lot of the base layers done down here. So let me go ahead and do that that rinse, see what we have left wet paint wise, and I'll jump back into this in a second. All right. So, not a lot of wet paint left from all that mess. Not sure what this is gonna. This looks like it's gonna give me a bluish color. Definitely don't want it to be blue. Got to have a little bit more contrast. I'm gonna grab my used paint gray and start dropping in just the base coats down here. A lot of this is strictly, again, like because as soon as I do the black layer on top of here and come back and lights and all that mess, I'll be coming down right over top of this layer, so I can't do a ton with it other than start dropping in the base layers. So I'm gonna put, yeah, like this and these a lot of these base coats. This we're looking at probably at most another hour today. But honestly, I am thrilled with how this has turned out so far. I'm very happy that some of you this evening, wow, have my windows blocked out so I can't. The sunlight doesn't give me backlighting, but what was I saying? Actually, come to think of it, I think the cooler gray is probably the better to start. I'll glaze in warm stuff later. Happy you guys were able to pop in and join me. Yeah. Actually want to get probably a light and a dark version of this color. So just grab some white with a different knife so I don't contaminate my whole jar of white, because that would be a bad thing, wouldn't it? That'd be silly. Yeah, so this way I have a dark and a light, so I can push that color in multiple directions. And for the first time since I did some of the cloud stuff here, I'm going to be grabbing a bit larger of a brush than I've been using. Alright, set that aside. Get that off the knife. Yeah, so I've got this, where'd it go? Here. Wider, shorter flat brush. I'm just going to go ahead and start blocking in down here a little bit. Though I will have to get my edges as well. First time I'm getting to the edges today. Okay, as long as I get my edges first, shouldn't be bad. I've come to think I'm probably gonna be sitting on the floor for the sake of not blocking the camera here. Although right now I have to again a little bit. Just tilt this a bit. Excuse me a second. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a seat. In fact, I'm trying to think might have to go grab a pillow from upstairs. Hang on a second. Floor pillow. Let's bring everything down here with me. So again, similar to what I started with the planet, coming up on what past now 3 hours ago. Um, well, probably two because I did the whole sketch thing first. Um, Somehow I ended up with more of that light gray than the dark, and also this dark's kind of a mid-tone, so I'm gonna grab a little black and pull some more of that in a bit. Another slightly longer blocking the camera moment here coming up. Sorry. Okay. All right. I am gonna have to pull this off of the easel tripod easel soon here. Because I got to get the bottom edge yet. I get my darks in here as well. All right. This I won't be able to show on camera at all, just because of where we're at. I just got to pull this up and back, and I'll bring it back as soon as I can. Palettes here. Palettes here. Just not anticipating having to put something on my table right this second. Hello. There we go. I know, it's not on camera. Give me a second. I would be like, oh, I can just mix this color later, but this color's already mixed with like so many other things right now that getting us back to this thing right now, and I gotta get that base coat on the bottom. Okay. Coming back. Coming back. Back. Yay. All right. So I've got just a little bit of that color left on the palette, which is good. Most of it's the lighter color, interestingly. But it doesn't matter, we're adding black. Wherever my black's at. Where did I put it? Oh, geez. I lost it. There it is. Okay. Moving to the last leg of this morning's session. Well, it's afternoon now, but... Alright, that's actually mostly black. I probably shouldn't have put that much in. Alright. Okay. I even know where my other shapes were over here, like craters and stuff. All that got covered up. It's okay. We'll find new ones like that. Again, this is base coat 1, and there's probably gonna be a second base coat on top of this. Pull that around. I think that was supposed to be another one there. Yeah, it's not bad. I can work with that. Now using what's left, I'm going to space that out and find some cracks beyond that in here. Because the title, again, title of the piece is Fractured Worlds, which is double meaning. It means the broken piece up top, but it also means the lower section as well. This is essentially an extra paint marker sketch, but with thicker, more notable paint. And the final color here is going to be a lot, probably oranger for this one. I like the idea of having it more of a Mars-esque planet rather than like looking out from a moon. But, you know, we'll see what happens later on down the road. Mm-hmm. I think that's good. It's probably where we're going to leave things today. But this has been a killer painting session. And whether I'm back Monday with another live stream or not, I don't know, but I hope all of you have a fantastic, fantastic Labor Day. If you're not off because you're not in the US, then I just hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Using this live stream as a jump off point, get out there and make something cool. And if you happen to make something cool with other people around, let them know I sent you. Yeah, I really like this. I cannot wait to share this one up to Instagram. That's my next work in progress. Little bummed I can't take it to the show and at the end of the month, but the little one here. Yep. I gotta stop before I get carried away here, but just doing what I can to get my other fractures in here. Yeah, I'll come back in with a browner layer and reestablish a lot of things. once I'm able to and I get the dark layer up in there, but you know. Okay, yeah, I gotta stop. I'm getting carried away here. All right, well, let me move the camera over a little bit. Probably gonna get glare, but yeah. So that is session 1 for Fractured Worlds. This has been such a blast of a morning. I'm actually looking forward to lunch now, though. At this point, yeah, this has been great. So now looking at the rest of my day, might end up streaming on my Twitch channel later. When I sit down to play some games and such. Exactly what I'll be playing, who the hell knows? But yeah, this has been a blast. I'm so glad you guys joined me today, or if you're catching this one later, thanks for watching the whole damn thing, because this was a nearly 4-hour live stream. But yeah, this has been great, and for sure, having Monday off, I will be right back into this piece then. So, for this long live stream, thanks guys for watching. And this has been from Cinderblock Studios, reminding you to keep on creating, explore some new worlds, and I will see you guys next time.